After a cooler than expected jobs data, the markets have turned positive as we close out the week. We'll be discussing that, the latest going on overseas, and much more today on Money Never Sleeps. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. As we get going, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Remember, nothing we say is financial advice, so please do your own research for making any sorts of buys or sells. Kev, happy Friday, end of the first week of March. We got some employment data today. Throughout the week, we've seen softer than expected employment data coming in. On Wednesday, we didn't do a show Wednesday, but private sector employment, new jobs added there came in about half of what expectation was. Today, we saw 151,000 jobs added in February. Expectation was 170. Unemployment rate ticked up by 1/10 of a point, so 4.1 now. Hourly wages year over year came in under expectation. So it seems like the labor market might be softening a bit. However, our good buddy Jerome Powell does not care, not viewing that as an opportunity to cut rates, leading to a potential showdown with him and Trump in the weeks and months ahead.
I mean, that's literally the best way to put what happened today and what's happened this week. It's a showdown now between Trump and Powell, right? Powell's pretty much says, yeah, we're not in a recession yet. Or, was fairly dovish today. And I think there's a reason why he came in and spoke that dovish, saving the markets a little bit here. And again, Trump wants these markets to crash. I don't care if he doesn't say that outright. He says he's not looking at the stock market. He's looking at the stock market. The important thing when it comes to Trump is the quicker this market crashes, which I think everyone in the White House kind of knows it probably will, the easier it is to blame it on Joe Biden and the previous policies of the administration prior to him. That being said, right now, with everything that's happening in the market, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some type of more downside. However, there's some things that changed today in the market where I've kind of flipped bullish short term. And, Powell is kind of that the ignition for that. I didn't want to believe it, but I think Powell definitely came in to save markets a little bit from that low. We regained the 200 moving average on some things, and we're kind of in this place where, okay, maybe the main sell-off's off now. Everyone starts getting excited. Everyone that was short in the lows gets screwed over, and everyone that starts long in here feels pretty great. This market is out there just to hurt you and you only, pretty much, it seems.
Yeah, it's if Trump does want the market to crash, he wants it happening soon, because the further we go before it does, the harder it's going to be for him to blame it on someone else. Now, we are seeing crypto still struggling here. We had that huge rally on Sunday. Bearish engulf, gave out all the gains on Monday. It started to kind of trade up in anticipation of the crypto summit at the White House today. And then last night, news starts to come out that, this strategic reserve, they're not necessarily going to be buying anything. They're just going to be holding the Bitcoin that the government has seized. So that led to a sell-off of Bitcoin that sent it below 85K. It's back in this high 88 range. We heard David Sachs say that, when they initially mentioned some of the altcoins like, ADA and XRP, not necessarily because of this strategic reserve, but because they're like some of the top 5 cryptos. So those have taken a hit as well. I've been under the belief that, like, long term, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. I don't know about the alts right now, but if you're expecting some huge progress, like, you missed the top of this cycle. Like, 109 was the top of this cycle. I don't think that we're going to be seeing new all-time highs this year. And maybe I'm proven wrong. And if I am, great. There'll just be a chance for me to take some more profit. But I think we've seen the highs for the year. We saw an absolute ass kicking to alts with ETH way below where it was back in what? Let me take a look here. Back in December, we saw ETH crack 4K momentarily. Solana cut in half from where it was, as recently as January, like less than 2 months ago. So it's I think it's going to be a tough year ahead for crypto, as we don't know how tariffs are going to play out. We don't know if there's going to be, pulled back anytime soon. Everything going on in Ukraine, the uncertainty there. So markets are looking for safety at this point, and that is not what you want. And between that and these interest rates staying higher for longer, it's not a recipe for some golden bull run in crypto like people are still pining over.
Yeah, I think you have to pick your moments when it comes to when are we going to get bullish and whatnot. I don't think it's now. Again, short term, sure, we could get a bit of a dead cat bounce. As a matter of fact, let me pull up the S&P right now, because that's kind of what I'm expecting, is that we get a bit of a dead cat bounce into OPEX. I know I was saying that we get a sell off into OPEX, but some things with volatility just change, and maybe we do. Maybe we do. And if that's the case, then we bottom. Then I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to look to stocks that I want to pick up. But when I look at this today, we bounced almost off the 200 moving average on Tuesday. We did so yesterday, and today we lost it. And I was waiting to see what happens once we were underneath it. We didn't go that far underneath it before we started getting bought back, right? Right at around 11:30 or I guess 11:30 Central Time, so 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, you start seeing this getting bought back. That's Powell speaking to the markets. Did a pretty good job, kept it above the 200 moving average, and we've had a really good move down, right? I mean, when we look at this is from top to bottom to where, at least where we are right now, it's a 7% move to the downside. Now, it's not as much as I'd like it to be. I thought we'd get to at least 10, 12, somewhere around that 53, 5400 level in the S&P before OPEX. Doesn't mean that it doesn't still get there. It just means that maybe we push it back a little bit till after OPEX, once the OPEX window kind of closes. We've seen that happen before. It was from February into March OPEX with the pandemic, and we've also seen right after the expiration and options expiration end that we do see a lot of the equities fall, just because there's no necessarily controlling that volatility any longer. And especially with this being such a huge OPEX, it's very possible that we front loaded the front end of this month, and then the back end of it in the next 2 weeks, we have a bit of a dead cat bounce. And that being said, that means somewhere between the 50 and the 200. I don't think it goes higher than the 50 moving average, if you ask me. I still think that people were panicking in this market when nothing necessarily went wrong. I don't know about you, but I didn't hear about any bank failures yet. I think there's one on the horizon I'm definitely eyeing, but we haven't seen the yen carry trade unwind just yet. There is nothing necessarily that is broken outright, out loud, that has any concern for markets to react the way that it has. This has just been a lot of offloading from the February OPEX into the March one. That being said, if we look at the VIX and what's going on over there, we've had a really good run. Literally, OPEX was February 21st. We started, VIX expiration was, I think it was the 18th or the 19th of February. From that, once that expired, we started rallying pretty hard. And then obviously OPEX is 2 weeks from Friday, so 2 weeks from today, on the 21st, we kind of pushed up into this area. We're hitting the top of this trend line. It's almost like they have some type of program that keeps it from going higher. It's volatility is getting compressed. They're extremely overbought up here. Equities are down 7%. If I'm looking at this right here, this looks like it's going to collapse a little bit. Doesn't mean that it can't go up in the next few days if something does happen. The thing that we've been kind of keeping an eye on when it comes to Japan has been the yen carry trade. And that also, too, got extremely low today at 147. I think the low was 146.935. The lower this goes, the worse it gets. It's getting stronger against the dollar. I mean, just to put in perspective where we are, we were literally Monday, August 5th. That was the day that we had that huge market pullback. We're right around that level. So either Japan prints a ton of yen that pushes their market up, which also by proxy puts the U.S. market in a bit of a dead cat bounce bullish scenario, and then maybe we reclaim this parallel channel. But mind you, this is a parallel channel. We probably will get rejected from it if we aren't able to push up higher. I think that's probably what's going to happen. We're just rallying into this death cross that's about to happen. There's just a lot of things that are kind of aligning for what we tend to see in markets. Death crosses are fairly bullish. I hate to say that, but you always get a little rally into them to get, screw people on both sides of the trade. And when I'm looking at this market right now, it kind of seems that way. I mean, the market was down 70 points today. Now the S&P is up 35. It's just a wild place to be. There's 0% certainty in this market. It's 100% uncertainty. And I think we kind of just have to take things as they come. Doesn't mean I don't expect the yen carry trade to unwind. I honestly said if it wasn't today or tomorrow, or what am I talking about? Today's Friday, Sunday night into Monday morning in the U.S. markets, or it would possibly be the week following OPEX, which means, you got like a 3-week window of when we could see some fireworks in Japan, very similar to how we saw on August 5th. I don't necessarily know if it's going to happen the same way as August 5th. Maybe it goes slower, maybe it gets stronger. But, what we're looking at across the board in equities is that there is some weakness. People are probably caught off guard. They're trying to reposition. It's a good time to screw people over. But when I'm looking at, the Nikkei and everything like that, there's still that really good chance that if we lose 36,830, we're looking at the fireworks that we're talking about. This would be the end of the yen carry trade. So there's a lot to be looking at this weekend come Sunday night into Monday morning. But it looks like volatility is the one that got killed today, if anything.
All right. What are we looking at in crypto right now? We haven't talked too much about it this week. We can look at some of these charts if you want. They're not pretty, that's for sure. I mean, ETH looks like it's just hanging on by a thread.
We got to get a few of these out of the way first. So Solana, you see what I see?
Hold on, let's update it. My computer's
Sorry, I thought you were looking in for dramatic effect. It was a death cross. Yeah, Solana got a death cross. Let's see where else we got. We got a few of these. We missed the AVAX. Well, I'm not even playing. AVAX is too late. We missed that one.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who fucking cares about Avalanche? We missed the ETH one a while ago. No, I think we did play the ETH one when that happened.
We played the ETH one. Yep.
XRP, no, that one's in Head and Shoulders. But there's a lot of things in crypto that are just like, I don't know if we're gonna get this golden bull run.
I don't think we have a ton to talk about. Can we look at a few of these, the ones that have already had death crosses, and then maybe scroll back a little bit and see previous cycles when the death crosses hit, how long has it taken for it to bottom out? I know every cycle is going to be a little bit different, but I'm curious, when do we really bottom out here, and what is a good opportunity to start accumulating some of these?
Absolutely. So let's go back to 2024 in June when we did get the death cross on, say, something like AVAX. We're trading at $34 or so, and from that death cross to where we bottomed out, it was roughly 48 days. And, you're down
50%.
50% or so. Yeah. I mean, if we look at where we are from that death cross, I'm going to actually pull it from this major drop that we got here, just because it seems like that's more what we are kind of looking at. So let's say from here to where 50 days would be, it'd be about March 22nd, 50%. Yeah.
So AVAX at if we get down to $18, $17 could be a good start to a little bit of a DCA.
Yeah, and I do think that there is going to be a summer rally for some of these things, especially if we get a major drain. The interesting thing too, this also comes after OPEX, the 22nd. It's kind of TradFi kind of rules crypto now. It's not the other way around, given how much money is actually in crypto. That's now traditional finance. Bitcoin obviously is going to be important with that too, right? Where is it? ETH I wanted to look at.
Yeah, let's take a look at ETH and Sol as well.
Yeah, let's go just
see kind of where it's been comparably in the past.
I don't know why I pressed that button. Here we go. Right here. Let's go down 50% and 50 days, right? It's about $1,600 per coin.
Okay. So we still got a ways to go there.
Yeah. And again, that kind of lines up with expecting one more flush in crypto. Let's go to Sol. Sol is an interesting one, right? Because this thing tried to rally into this death cross. And so I'm just going to take it from the Trump strategic reserve. Let's go 50 days out. Go down 50%. We're looking at somewhere around $90. $90 per coin.
Okay.
That's a major drawdown, right?
Yeah.
it's not a pretty one. That being said, if we're looking at this as a 5-way move, you're probably going to get some type of 3-wave bounce from there. So maybe that brings you up to like maybe the averages. The averages probably be a lot lower, but I wouldn't expect this to be an alt season.
You could link real quick, and could we just do that same little
Yeah.
exercise for Chainlink?
Yeah. So Death Cross hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet. Okay.
Expect one, most likely, right? We're overbought on the daily stochastic RSI. Let's just grab it.
Maybe today is when it's that high before the fall.
Yeah, it's let's go 50% down, 50 days out. We're looking at about $9.33 per coin. Man, that ain't fun. But if you're looking to get in $9.33 per coin, get a little bit of a summer rally, maybe there is some type of QE that we still expect. And again, I'm not trying to sound bullish by any means, like thinking that we're going to go up forever. I think that we're in the cycle of things that are going to be coming due in March and September. I just think that we have a small little window over the summer where some type of liquidity comes in just so people don't freak out over the markets. That's why I think Trump's trying to crash the markets too, because he needs that QE.
Capitulation has to happen at some point. We are going to find a bottom. I don't think we're there yet. I think most reasonable people also do not think that we are there quite yet. So I'm more bullish than you, like just pretty much always. But I do think that like we need to have realistic targets. I know that I'm personally not going to hit the bottom, but if I can have confidence in a number that I think is within striking distance of that, I'm happy to start. I remember last cycle, and that's why I asked about Link, like DCAing Link between like $7 and $8 forever, and then eventually sold out of it at like 20, and now here we are. Like if I can start DCAing that at like $10 and maybe sell out of it at like 30 or 40 in the future, I'm not thinking that Link's going to go to 100. If it did, great, but just kind of looking for some of these spots to take some positions for some moves up.
Yeah, and it's really hard for me right now too, because I'm looking at this like this is XRP, this is a head and shoulders pattern that I'm seeing, so it's got obviously a move down, and some of these things I think bottom when Bitcoin gets to a certain level. That level for me for Bitcoin is 73K, 74K. Some people are saying as low as 69. Who knows? I think maybe they're just trying to be funny. But I look at what we're expecting. It's kind of the bounce that we've gotten. They're really trying to shake this market out of people. They don't want people to be in the money on shorts to the downside, and they don't want people to be in the money for longs to the upside, right? That's kind of what the Trump trade is. And he needs that QE. He genuinely needs that QE so that the market looks good, to juice the markets for a little bit. But even if we do get it, how long does it actually supply the markets, right? We talked about this all the time, the bank term funding program. That thing saved the markets in 2023. Now that it's pretty much depleted, look what happened to the markets. It's all downhill, right? That liquidity is being pulled out of the system. And I don't think we're done with that yet. I just think that we have these small little windows where, it's very possible that after this stupid thing that's happening in the White House tonight with the crypto, or this afternoon with crypto, that the market just absolutely tanks on Sunday for Bitcoin. It's very possible that we just see continued downward acceleration for crypto, and that kind of front runs maybe TradFi slowly coming after. But it's really just a game of probabilities. I hate to say that, but this market is very uncertain. It's even throwing me for a loop looking at some of the mixed signals that we're seeing across the board. So I think it comes down to what's most important is if you were looking for a bottom, maybe the entire market needs the bottom first, right? That's talking about TradFi, crypto, Forex, all gold, all these things in the short term need the bottom. And then I think you're kind of safe buying certain things. I'm not saying buying everything. Let's look at the NASDAQ real quick. This is worse than arguably the S&P right now. It's down over 10%. And I don't necessarily see a lot of people coming in and saying, oh yeah, NVIDIA at 110 is a steal. Are other people along this thing? Jim Cramer said Palantir is coming back and it was down 10% the next day. So a lot of these stocks that are in these things, I think, are kind of suffering a 2001 scenario where it's like, oh, it's the .com bubble, but it's for AI. So if we do bottom, maybe they don't bounce as hard as other things. Maybe utility stocks bounce pretty hard. Maybe you get, which for me, and I don't have any shame saying this, but I think the meme stocks, I think that the end carry trade and the meme stocks are really what we're looking at. It's going to be the stupid, let's get our, make our last few bucks in this market. I'm going long on GME and FFIE, a company that sells physical video games in store and doesn't give you shit for your trade-in value, and a company that has never made an electrical vehicle that is just used to hedge against GameStop shooting up. It makes no sense, but it's not necessarily the Nvidia trade where everyone's going to start seeing that liquidity pull out. I think the Mag 7 stocks are kind of done here. That's just my opinion. I think going into September, you're going to start to see stupid things rally, and then from there, you're probably going to see the major crash. So can crypto rally over the summer? Yes. Can utility stocks rally over the summer? Yes. Can meme stocks? Yes. Can Mag 7? Yes, but not nearly as much. It's not going to be where all the money is going, in my opinion.
All right. Anything else before we wrap it up today? I think we covered a good amount in a short period of time. I'm not expecting much from this crypto summit thing today. With Trump, his crypto support has mainly been via social media, and it's been fairly performative, in my opinion. We see these tweets and his posts from Truth or whatever, and they get shared on Twitter. You haven't really heard him say much in some of these bigger public opportunities, and so I think we're going to continue to see his sons are pumping it up because of World Liberty Financial and the heist that they just ran on, with Trump coin, with with them longing the market before he sent those things out on Sunday, just truly spectacular levels of corruption and market manipulation. This wealth transfer from the American people to the president via crypto is just going to be looked back on in history not too favorably.
Absolutely. So I guess just before we head off, I'm just going to give two scenarios. One, the yen carry trade happens before OPEX. Two, the yen carry trade happens the Monday after OPEX. It's in the U.S. So would that be March 20 something into April? I would expect, because we know that March 18th is the rate decision for Japan. They're already talking about raising rates in May. Maybe get a surprise one in March, and that kind of throws shit off. That would be before OPEX, and that would really scare the markets, and we would probably see a sell-off into OPEX. Maybe QE comes in right after that, or we have it the day after OPEX because everyone who bought up the stock, now the volatility is compressed. There is no one really long volatility in the market. Well, now Japan has a major problem. Start seeing the unwind, the liquidations happening. They sell off all the stock with it, which in tandem kind of just shoots volatility up right after OPEX. Those are the two scenarios, right? So yen carry trade unwind, it's going to unwind. It's either before OPEX or it's after OPEX, and it's going to be very close to the date. So just keep an eye on that. Maybe it happens Sunday. Who knows? But I think it's probably going to happen after they kind of say whatever they have to say about the markets. They're going to try and quell the markets for the time being, but not this week, but next week. I'd be very concerned from the 13th all the way to the 18th, and then from the 18th all the way to, well, I gotta look at my calendar. I know I'm giving a bunch of dates out there, but the 24th of March could be a very bad day, which historically has been a pretty bad day for the past 6 or 7 years.
All right. That is going to wrap it up for today's show. Appreciate those of you who watched. As always, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment if you're so inclined. We'll be back next week for a couple shows before Kevin and I each head out of town so the markets can then crash again. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have an awesome weekend. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you Monday.
That's an understatement. Take care, everyone.